Also making national news tonight, Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence officials touting both the Boxing and New Year's Day Junkanoo parades as a smashing success and are now in preparation mode to get the ball rolling for the upcoming parades later on this year. The JCNP chairman addressed several challenges facing Junkanoo with our Dion Davis today.
Tickets were all sold out for the much-anticipated return of the Boxing Day Junkanoo Parade, and about 75% sold for the New Year's Day Parade. It's a record JCNP Chairman Dion Miller is proud to boast about. Miller says while both parades were a smashing success, there were some major seating challenges experienced by spectators.
We had a major challenge with the Boxing Day Parade. The seating vendor incorrectly labeled all of the seats on the northern side of the parade, which caused a mass confusion. And so for Boxing Day Parade, every single seat on the northern side, which is the side, the Scotiabank side, were labeled wrong. And it gave the appearance that there are duplicates of ticket, but the issue was that everything was labeled wrong. So, for example, if your seat was number 1, row 2 on the eastern side, you were seated on the western side. The seats traditionally are labeled from east to west, but for some reason they were labeled from west to east, and which was a huge problem.
Since Junkanoo and inclement weather doesn't mix, and it forced a number of Junkanoo groups to run for cover, resulting in a number of gaps on the parade route. But Miller says an even bigger issue was the lack of sponsorship from corporate Bahamas as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
I feel like the government stepped up again this year and assisted the groups. The JCNP was able to gather sponsorship and assist the groups, but the sponsorship just wasn't there as it was in years past. And so we have already begun the process of appealing to corporate Bahamas. We're back. Junkanoo is back. Junkanoo is alive, and we're going to need your assistance if we want to grow and sustain this thing called Junkanoo.
And while the JCNP is looking at different avenues to generate more revenue, they're encouraging corporate Bahamas to grant sponsorships for B category groups.
Category A groups, they don't find it as difficult as the smaller groups to find funding, because the bigger conglomerates, the bigger companies tend to lean towards those bigger groups. So you've seen Shell sponsored Saxons for a number of years, Bahama, the Valley Boys, Atlantis with Roots, Albany One Family. So those bigger groups find it easier. Where we find a challenge is the smaller groups, the Redland Soldiers, who the Colors. Those groups are the groups that predominantly rely on the government. They don't have corporate sponsorship, so we're trying to work with corporate to be a big brother to help those little groups.
A post-mortem meeting involving all key stakeholders is expected to take place at the end of the month to discuss ways to improve the standards at both Junkanoo parades. Meantime, JCNP officials are crossing their fingers with the hopes that nothing else interferes or cause a delay as a relaunch of this year's Junkanoo season starts in April. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Dion Davis.